What if the silence you're experiencing right now isn't a sign that they've forgotten you, but a sign that they're waiting for you to break first? Welcome back to TF. If you've been bombarded with messages, calls, emotional conversations, sudden apologies, or unexpected attempts to reconnect, and you stopped responding, then suddenly everything went quiet, don't be too quick to assume the story is over. Sometimes, those final messages were the Hoover attempts. They may not have said, "I want you back." In fact, they may have looked completely ordinary. A random question, a nostalgic message, a reaction to something you posted, a sudden concern about your life, a message that seemed innocent but was really testing whether they could still get a response from you. And when you stopped giving them that response, the silence began. That silence can feel confusing because after so much emotional chaos, peace can feel unfamiliar. You may start wondering what they're thinking, what they're doing, whether they've moved on, or whether you should reach out just to find out. But this is where many people make the mistake I once made. When someone withdraws, you may feel an urge to chase clarity. You may think, maybe I should just send one message. Maybe we can finally talk. Maybe this time things will be different. But if you're dealing with someone who repeatedly used confusion, emotional pressure, or inconsistent communication, reaching out can pull you right back into the same cycle. Sometimes silence becomes a test. They step away and wait to see whether you will come looking for them. They may leave a small opening, a social media account, an old contact route, or some indirect way for you to reach them, because they know your emotions may eventually push you to make the first move. So please, don't automatically break the silence. Use it. Let the quiet become space for you to think clearly again. Space to sleep without waiting for the next message. Space to stop checking their social media. Space to remember who you were before the confusion became your daily reality. And if they have gone quiet after you rejected their attempts to reconnect, that doesn't mean you need to panic. It may simply mean you've finally stopped participating in the pattern. Your job is not to decode every move they make. Your job is to protect your peace. If you have children together, the situation can be more complicated. In that case, structured communication, clear boundaries, neutral exchanges, and professional guidance may help reduce unnecessary conflict. You don't have to create emotional closeness with someone simply because you share parenting responsibilities. And please understand this. You do not need to prove that you were the better person. You do not need to convince them of everything they did. You do not need their agreement before you are allowed to heal. Sometimes closure is not an apology. Sometimes closure is finally realizing that the conversation you kept waiting for may never give you the peace you hoped it would. The longer you remain focused on their silence, the more power you give that silence. But the moment you redirect your attention toward your own life, your own healing, your own future, something begins to change. You stop waiting. You stop checking. You stop wondering what their next move will be. And one day, the message you once hoped for may arrive, and you may realize you no longer want what you once begged life to give you. So if they've gone quiet, let them. Don't rush to fill the silence. Sometimes the silence is exactly where your healing finally begins. If this message connected with your experience, support TF by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and staying with us for more conversations about emotional patterns, boundaries, healing, and relationships. And remember, every situation is different. So use your own judgment and seek professional support when necessary. Your peace matters more than proving a point.